The King, the Princess, and the Tinker by Ellen Kindt McKenzie, illustrated by William Lowe. Chapter 4. The Beginning of a Journey to See the Country. Early the next morning, the morning of her birthday, Princess Sweet Rosilla sat on the steps of the castle with her elbows on her knees and her chin in her hands. She had not been able to think of a way to see the country. So although the sky was blue with white puffy clouds floating across it, and bright flags snapped and curled from every tower of the castle, she was still the tiniest bit unhappy. She watched her brothers, the numerous prime ministers, and the servants, all dressed in their finest clothes, lined up along the steps and close their eyes and bow their heads. She watched the royal coach draw up before the steps. The coach was painted red and gold and had shining brass doorknobs and a shining brass rail all around the roof of it. Clean white curtains embroidered with gold thread tightly covered its windows. She saw the coachman and the liveryman close their eyes and bow their heads. She watched the general and the 5,000 foot soldiers draw up behind the coach and close their eyes and bow their heads. She watched the 11 trumpet players raise their shining brass trumpets to their lips and close their eyes. She kept watching. There was a great blasting mishmash of notes from the trumpets, none of them quite together because, of course, the trumpeters had their eyes closed. Still, it was a wondrous sound, if only it was for her, if only it was she who was leaving to see the country. Now, the princess kept hoping, if only her father would look at her, if only he would ask her to go with him. But the liveryman pushed shut the door of the coach. The corners of the princess's mouth pulled down. The brightness of the coach blurred. Princess Sweet Rosilla thought, "My father has never given me a birthday present, not even new shoes." Then she thought, "But there is a perfect place to ride on the roof at the back of the royal coach. How can anyone fall off with the shining brass rail to hold on to? It is the best place in the world for seeing the country. I've had my breakfast. We will surely be back by noon in time for my party. No one will ever miss me. This will be a surprise birthday present from my father." So she brushed away her tears. The next minute, the royal coachman cracked the royal whip, and the royal coach pulled away from the castle, and Princess Sweet Rosilla settled herself and watched the general and the 5,000 foot soldiers. The soldiers marched 10 abreast across the road, 500 long. The rows stretched behind her as far as the eye could see. That's the end of chapter 4. It seems that she has stowed away on her father's coach to ride through the country.